Hey guys, this is LA Lately with my very favorite girl, Martina McBride. I don't know how I tricked her into coming today, but I did for Those Kind of Women segment. Obviously, Those Kind of Women taught me how to sing. I remember being a little girl and just trying to sing as well as you, like listening to you sing over and over again. Actually, I think I told you this, but my dad said to me one time that I couldn't sing Broken Wing. Like I wasn't able to sing Broken Wing, and I would sit in my bedroom until I could do it. For that was very good for my vocal cords, looking back on that. But what a talent, what a powerhouse, what a mom, and just overall lady. So thank you for being here.
My pleasure.
Also, she asked, she loves to cook. I love that about her. If you don't follow her on socials, you're missing out. You post yummy things all the time and your family. And I was like, we can cook something and hang out. So I get to eat it, you know? And she asked what I was craving, which I thought was so sweet. And it's peanut butter.
I love peanut butter.
Anything peanut butter. So what do we do?
Well, I was thinking, like I have this about 3 mornings a week when I don't feel like cooking, breakfast in the morning. It's just so easy. So I thought, well, this covers the basis. We have peanut butter, chocolate.
All the things you could ever want.
Yeah.
Those kind of women, and whatever kind of hell they were going through, Jesus was right there with them. I was raised by those kind of women.
Go see.
That should be good enough.
Okay. I don't know. Don't ask me.
Oh, there we go. All right, we'll see how it is. Looks more like a shake than a smoothie, but I'm not going to complain. I'm sorry.
Well, hey, I like shakes too.
Okay, I was thinking I didn't double it up. There would have been protein smoothies for everybody.
So you eat this like 3 times a week for breakfast?
Yeah.
So smart. This is fast. Cheers. All right, you want to go chat?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Well, I wanted you to come and be a part of this because, well, first of all, I'm obsessed with you. And you know that. I've toured with you and I've told you that a million times. Literally one of the most influential voices in my life. Genuinely. I'm serious. Like top 3 for sure.
Thank you.
I sang your music all growing up, obsessed with you. So then to get to grow up and be on tour with you. And I remember your daughters coming out and your husband was there and you're just the best. And you're such a great mom. I loved seeing you interact with your daughters and then getting to see you perform every night in these massive hits that literally I learned to sing to your songs. Not kidding. So it means a lot to me for you to be here. And you've been really good to me. Took me out on tour and you're just so kind. So thank you. And I just wanted to talk to you. Obviously, I'm going into this new season of motherhood and I'm still going to be touring. And I know if there's anyone in the world that knows about that, it is you. You've done it. So I just kind of wanted to pick your brain, get some of your advice, and also want to ask you about the women who influenced you, made you who you are. Like in my life, well, obviously women like you, music-wise, but my mom and my grandmother and my Aunt Kim, all these women kind of shaped me into who I am. So I'm just curious to hear, maybe we'll start there. Like, who are the women in your life that raised you or made you who you are? And it can be music, it can be your mother, whoever.
Well, my mom and my mom's mom, my grandma, were really strong women. They had an opinion. They were very straightforward and they had a lot of common sense. I think I got that, from them, and just kind of, you are who you are. No errors or
no apologies.
Yeah. You were talking earlier about cooking, because I love to cook. And it's funny because when I grew up in Kansas, looking back, and I just went back there a couple of weeks ago, and the food is just so simple and very different from how I cook now. And so I was thinking, how did I get to be sort of a foodie? Like, how did I get to be like where I like to really cook a lot of different things? And I think it was my husband's mom.
Oh, I love that.
My mother-in-law, her name was Flavia.
And Flavia?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, she better be able to cook with a name like Flavia. She had all the Flavias.
But she was like, I grew up in the country, and then John grew up in the big town of Wichita, Kansas. Yeah. And so they had like, she'd make like appetizers, and they had wine with dinner. And
You mean like a meal before the meal?
Yeah,
I was like, wow, about appetizers.
but like, this is very, very civilized and sophisticated. So I don't know. She was a great cook, and she always made big meals. And I think I just sort of got a little bit of like, it just broadened my world a little bit when it came to that kind of thing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Well, that's so sweet. My mother-in-law is a big cook too. In fact, my husband is obsessed with all of his mom's meals. So I have, now that we're married, started trying to make her spaghetti and make the different things that she makes. I cannot do it like Miss Wendy, though. I cannot make the spaghetti taste the same. She can stand there beside me and tell me what to do, and I still can't do it. But it is funny how she's obviously not my mom, and Flavia wasn't your mom, but they're your husband's mom. Yeah. So you kind of want to adapt to.
Yeah.
I have that same thing. That's so sweet.
Yeah.
And then you, how did you get into music? Like, I want to hear a little bit about your story.
Well, I grew up on a farm in Kansas, and my dad was a farmer, but he was also a musician. And he sang and played guitar, and he was sort of a band leader from the time I can remember. We used to practice in the living room, or the band would practice in the living room. And I was in 4-H, and I would always sing, at 4-H days, sing in church. My dad would play guitar for me, and I would sing. And there's always music around our house, country music. And so I was about 7 years old, and I don't know exactly why or how, but started singing in the band. At first, we'd just go for like an hour, and then we'd have to go home and go to bed because you're kids. But then before long, we worked up, meaning my little brother. My little brother is 2 years younger than me. He played guitar and steel guitar, and I played keyboards and sang. And we started like 7 and 5, And,
How sweet.
And I played all the way through high school. We play every Saturday night. We do either wedding dances or Elks Clubs or VFWs, or, sometimes we just rent this big gymnasium, like this big deserted old school that nobody went to anymore. And we'd just throw a dance, and people would come from miles around, and they'd bring their own coolers, and little kids to old people, like everybody.
So you had very supportive parents.
Very.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, I think that's so helpful.
Oh, yeah.
And then you became a mom, and you're on the road, which, first of all, hit after hit after hit after hit. It's remarkable, the songs like that you sang. Talk about empowering women. All of your music is very empowering for a woman.
Thank you.
I was so fortunate to grow up in a time where there were so many women empowering women, and you are literally the definition of empowering women. It's unbelievable. I want to talk to you about touring on the road with your daughters and being pregnant. I actually leave in a few days for my first tour on with being pregnant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, going to be interesting. But I just want to talk to you about the balance of motherhood and work and all of those kind of things.
Well, it's funny because your perspective changes. So like at the time when it was happening, like I found out I was pregnant right after we got offered the Brooks and Dunn tour, like opening for Brooks and Dunn. And My Baby Loves Me had just come out, and I needed to do that tour. It was a big tour in front of a lot of people. And I found out I was pregnant. And I remember my manager going, "What about the tour?" And I'm like, well, I mean, what do you mean? What about the tour? Of course we're going to do the tour. Like,
this is literally what just happened to me. Literally.
I'd be like, I just do it until I can't anymore. Well, I toured up to 2 weeks before I had Delaney. And you just do it. You know what I mean? Like the second one, I remember going to the CMA.
You did it until 2 weeks before?
Yes.
Okay, because I am like trying to figure out when I should not be.
See, I didn't do that with the third one. I was a lot older then and wiser, and I was like, no, I'm staying home till this baby comes. But the second one, Emma, I can remember she was 3 weeks old, and you'll find out nothing is back to normal after 3 weeks, right? It's just not. So we went on a plane to the ACMs because I had a performance. I performed Broken Wing, and I was like, I can't miss that. That's a huge opportunity. So we couldn't afford to buy everybody a seat. So, John held Delaney on his lap. I held Emma. She was 3 weeks old. I did the red carpet. I looked white as a sheet. I look back now, I'm like, I was pretty pale. But then I think to myself, oh, we just went out and did the ACMs. But then I read my old journal, and it's like, oh no, we did the ACMs. And then after the ACMs, we went and did After Midnight. I don't know if you know that radio show that was like after midnight. And then we stopped in Vegas on the way back and visited 2 radio stations. and then flew home. And you know what? I remember being so tired after I had Emma, and that, I know why now, because I went right back to work. And so with Ava, the third one, she's 7.5 years younger than Emma. I was like, I'm staying home, and resting. And she was my easy, they were all easy pregnancies. But so I think what I'm trying to say to you is like, you just do it. Right. I mean,
whatever you need to
you
do.
just do whatever you need to do. And as long as you're healthy and it's being active is good for the baby. And, they got to hear a lot of music.
Yeah, I know. Well, I've been reading a lot that they can hear their mother really early on, but now the apps and all of the things, it's based off of that book, What to Expect When You're Expecting. She can now hear, like, she's listening to Martina McBride right now talk to me. That's pretty crazy.
That's cool.
But so I'm like, well, she's definitely going to hear Rascal Flatts sing every night.
Yeah.
It's crazy, because we're going out with Rascal Flatts. Yeah. And I'm like, I hope your bedtime isn't before like 9 p.m. in there, because you're going to be awake. But everybody's kind of told me that the baby adapts to whatever they teach them.
Of course.
Because your girls were just always, and then once they started school and stuff, did you homeschool them, or did they go to school?
I went to school. So we toured and overseas and everything with Delaney and Emma until Delaney started kindergarten. And then we kind of started going only weekends and pulling back a little bit, because I wanted her to go to school, and I was the room mom. I wanted to make the cookies and show up at the little plays and the Pioneer Day of all.
I want to do those. Yes, and I'm worried about trying balancing that. So that encourages me that you were able to.
And then we just outfit the bus. Delaney had a crib, and I had a washer and dryer on there, and we had a little a bin that held all kinds of toys and stuff. So I don't know. I didn't really have anybody to set the course of teach me how to do it. So we just kind of wung it. Is that
wang it?
We wang it.
I don't know. I can't help you. I'm pregnant. I say the wrong words for everything. I'm making up words at this point. Wow. So they just, and your girls know no different.
They knew no different. And we, we would get out in the day and see stuff, and sometimes we wouldn't. Sometimes we just, sit on the bus, and they go in the venue and run around and play hide and go seek with the Warren brothers. And, all the crew was kind of like their protector.
Their uncles.
Yeah. Uncle. Yeah. And John, my husband tours with me.
He runs friend's house.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So that made it easier too. It wasn't just me out there with the kids. We were like a family unit out there. And, but I think I did realize, I took Delaney on radio tours. Precious thing. She'd sit at the end of the table of all these radio people, and she'd be coloring in her coloring book.
Oh.
So she's very adaptable. So, she can kind of talk to anybody, go anywhere, feel comfortable.
That's probably true.
Yeah.
That they would learn that. Well, that's really cool. And so what are you doing now? What are the girls doing now? What's going on within your world?
I'm going to tell you one more piece of advice.
Okay, yes, please.
Before you go on stage, check your clothes, because I did a whole show with spit up from here to here on my black jacket. And I did the whole show, and I came back on the bus, and I was like, what's that? Oh, nice.
So check for the spit up. That is hysterical.
Yeah.
You had no idea you were holding her.
No idea. I probably burped her, and, that happened. But anyway, so... They're now, Delaney is 30. She just turned 30 in December. She just got married almost a year ago. And my middle daughter, she was a massage therapist, but she just got a job yesterday as an executive assistant for musicians on call.
Oh, I love you.
So she's super stoked about that. She's a very type A list maker, get things done kind of person. So it's going to be
she'd be a good assistant too.
Definitely. And then Emma, my middle one, is living in LA.
Awesome.
She's in production. She wants to be kind of behind the scenes in TV and film. So she's working with a production company. And her boyfriend, she lives with her boyfriend out there. They've been together 5 years. Come on. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping, they'll get married sometime soon.
What's his name?
His name is Ramiro.
Ramiro. We're looking for the ring.
And then Ava's
Ramiro and Juliet.
Yeah. And then Ava's 19 and she's still living at home. She kind of took a gap year from college, and I was really happy that she did. And she's just, she's going to college now, but she's still here in Nashville. So she's thinking about moving to LA. She's thinking about going to SCAD.
Helen's your baby. She's the baby.
Yeah, she's the baby. We've got, it's just me, her, and John for a long time. And she calls us the Golden Trio.
Oh,
We have a group text that she named the Golden Trio.
oh, I hope my daughter feels that way about my husband.
She will. It's fun.
Who are some of your influences growing up musically? And just, I want to talk to you about like your rise to fame and the 90s and early 2000s and that whole like era of music. And there was like a wave of really empowering women then. I just remember being a little girl listening to the radio and you and Trisha and Shania and like all of these women just like singing about how proud they are to be women. I feel like those songs, like that kind of song hadn't been coming out in a long time. And I feel like now women are now singing more songs about how proud they are to be women. But that must have been like, in my opinion, growing up in the 90s and 2000s, like what a sounding board for a little girl to listen to, like just proud to be a woman. All of y'all's songs were that essentially. So who influenced you? Like, who did you listen to on the radio growing up that really made you feel that way? And then, how do you feel about being a part of that, like that time in country music where it's just like made such a stance?
Yeah. Well, I'm so grateful that I was able to come up in that time, really, really grateful. It was a lot of fun. And for my, when you're talking about listening to me when you were growing up, I was obsessed with Linda Ronstadt and Pat Benatar. So those are my two, like first Linda Ronstadt, I would just sort of like sing along to her records and memorize every breath, all the nuances, the power.
But it just gave me the chills. I literally did that with you. It makes me emotional. I mean, I would like every breath, sorry to interrupt. No, I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, it's so important, because we we didn't have any singing teachers or any kind of music programs really, right? So all we could really do to learn how to sing was listen to records. And so I just would spend hours and hours listening to her records. My friends would come over very rarely after school and they'd be like, I'd be playing records and they'd be like, is this all you do? Like, can we go outside and play? I'm like, oh, all right, fine. But I was obsessed with her. And then, oh gosh, I got a little bit older. Bonnie Raitt, I really loved.
Oh yeah.
And on the radio, and then Pat Benatar, I wanted to be Pat Benatar at one point in my life. I heard her sing Heartbreaker on the radio and I was like, what is that?
I need to be this.
Oh, so tough and so like strong. And then Reba, of course, was on the radio. I never really, I was going to say I didn't really try to sound like Reba because she was such a stylist, but I think I probably did, I sang her songs for sure. And I always admired her as a businesswoman,
She's so smart.
Just how she carried herself.
So
She used to walk out in those big gowns on the CMAs. I'm like, the queen has arrived.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
When Reba walks in.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then, as far as being part of that time, like I said, I'm so grateful because like we had Is There Life Out There, right? And we had all of those. I had that growing up. And so to kind of get to be a continuation of that, I mean, I love that about your new song. I feel like it's about something important. You know what I mean? And also the production's great. It sounds like a record that I would have made like, back in the day. I feel like we've gone away from like really melodic and beautiful production. So I love that. But now I feel like I don't know what it's like to be a woman in the business now. And I don't know how these young artists are doing it. Because I had a record company. I had a big label that was very powerful. I had executives that knew what they were doing. And I just kind of, I made the music and then they told me how they were going to get it.
Make it work.
Right. And now I see so many young girls that don't really even have that. And I'm like, how are they doing it? How are they getting it done? I really admire it.
And even if you do have it, it's like, I don't know. Yeah. I feel like maybe in the last couple of years it's gotten better, but there was definitely a very large lull of women being played.
I know. And that's what I was going to say too, is that I always said that's so destructive because there's all these little girls out there like you and me.
I think
Word,
about that sometimes.
and they're listening to the radio. And if they have, if there is no women's stories or women's point of view,
Who's telling their
they
story?
can hear. First of all, they don't know that they can do. Like I saw Reba and went, I can do that. I can do that. I think I can do that. Right? You know what I mean? Like I can make it. I can be on the CMA Awards. I can be on the radio. If you don't have any examples of that, then you're like, that might not even occur to them. And secondly, they're pretty objectified in the songs. A lot of the guys sing. I think it's changing a little bit now, but for a minute there, it was like,
Yeah.
so I feel like
Daisy Dukes in the shotgun seat.
So I feel like they didn't really have their point of view being supported or even know what it is, at that, like at a young age or like as a teenager. So it really bothered me because I thought, oh, I hope this isn't how they see themselves.
I know. I think that's so true. That's why I love like Lainey Wilson, I think, does a really great job of being a voice for women. There are multiple women. There's Carly, there's Lainey. I like to think I'm part of that.
Yes.
Kelsey, obviously there are, and there's a lot of new women coming up now too. It was just, there was like this weird era and everyone was talking about it. So then it was almost worse because then it put more pressure on us. Like, wait, why aren't we getting
Right.
And if you did really look at it and compare the women and the men just in general, it wasn't even close.
No.
It was so male dominant. And I do think it's better now. And I think a lot of people like you and a lot of female artists from your time where y'all were like, hello, this is very important. Hello, I wouldn't be, people can just call you Martina and you know who they're talking about. You reached the one name level. That's pretty great, by the way.
Well, yeah, it was very infuriating. And I can remember the first time that whole article came out about the tomatoes and the salad and whatever. I was like, I'd had a couple glasses of wine and I was like fired off this email. Like, what is happening? I mean, not an email, a post that I put on the freaking internet and woke up the next day. I remember doing it. I'm not saying I didn't remember doing it, but I was emboldened to do it. And you're just braver. Yeah, I was a little braver. And I woke up and I was like, yep, I did that. That's great. And it kind of started people talking about it. Not that I was the one that started it, but like, you know what I mean?
It took a lot of y'all though. I think a lot of you guys that didn't have that experience because y'all were like, what is going on here? And it actually, for me and for I bet a lot of us, seeing y'all do that made us feel empowered. Because it was like, we were out there and we were doing just as much work as the guys, which I do think it has changed a little bit now. But I think also the music is changing and the perspective of the songs that women are sharing is changing. Like, not just to say my song is the perfect example of that, but Those Kind of Women is specifically about women. The end. Like, it is a song about strong, empowering women. And I don't know if I would have put that song out 5 years ago. I don't know if I would have. I may have, but I was so proud to share that. And I'm also in a different phase now where I'm like, I'm pregnant and I'm having I'm really attached to my mother. That's changed. It's completely changed my dynamic with mom. Just all these firsts of like being pregnant and being preparing to be a mother. But I actually recorded the song before I was even pregnant. But I do think that the climate overall in country music has changed. And there are women like Lainey won Entertainer of the Year. That's insane. That should be happening. Right. Women should be winning these things. And I think it is shifting. And I just applaud you because first of all, my generation, I only believe that I can do it because of women like you. Honestly, what you said is so true. I watched you do it and I was like, oh my gosh, like they can do this. I can do this, and even I think about Carrie a lot, Carrie Underwood. She was on American Idol. That's what made me go on American Idol. Like seeing women be empowered as a little girl is so important. Yeah. And to hear the narrative of like, hey, I love strong women and I don't have to take crap from a man, and all of these different narratives that you can share as a woman that in the male perspective is perfect for the men to hear. It's not like a competition. It's just, we can represent those little girls out there just like you represented us. And, I just think it's so important and I appreciate you talking to me about it. And thank you for what you said about the production. I'll have to tell Jerry. Yeah, that'll be very exciting for him.
That's really great.
I think for me, now that I'm creating music and putting music out, like we said, for young girls, just it can be done. Like if you have a dream, no matter you're from a small town in Kansas, I'm from a small town in Georgia. We had these big dreams and these big voices. And I think in my opinion, 80% of the battle is believing that you can do it.
Yeah, 100%.
I'm
not, yeah.
100%, 80%. No,
but, somewhere in there.
Yeah. But I think it is, like we said, so important for women to be doing it so that little girls can see that happening. But I also think that it takes a lot of belief in yourself and just thinking you can do it. And regardless of what it is, but especially in the music industry, we need women. We're always going to need women. So I don't know if you have any like advice for a young girl out there or even someone who's in Nashville, who's moved here, and it may be tough, like those women you were talking about that don't necessarily have these labels and the backing that you may have had.
I always say that I think it's really important to be authentic because I think people can really tell when you're not. And I think that it might be harder. You might run up against some resistance, but at the end of the day, then you're just surrounding yourself with the wrong people, right?
Right.
You need, like, I was really lucky that for 99.9% of my career, the people I work with, which were all men, I had very strong opinions about what I would and wouldn't do and what I want my videos to look like and how I do, it's the whole thing. And so, they respected me because of that, I think, right? So I did surround myself with the right people, which is another key thing. If you're with people who keep poo-pooing your ideas or saying you're not smart enough or you're not doing it right or you need to do it this way, make it, whatever, then they're the wrong people. You need to run.
You need people that believe in your narrative, your dream,
support you and lift you up, and sometimes that's men and sometimes it's other women. But back in the day, we didn't have as many women in the business, you know what I mean? As far as managers and things like that. But I think just being authentic and like not trying to do something for the short term. Like you might hear a song and somebody goes, "This is a hit. If you record this, it will be a hit on the radio." And you think, "Well, it's not really me. I don't really even like it, but I want to hit on the radio, right?"
Don't do it.
That short term comes back.
Listen, I have done
it for the long term,
And then if they become a hit or they become successful enough, 10 years later, you're still playing that music.
Yeah.
So make sure you got every single song you ever record.
Yeah. And plus, you can put your heart into it that way. Yeah. And that's what people really connect with anyway.
And I think it's important to find not everyone writes their own songs. Not everyone needs to. Honestly, there's so many wonderful songwriters. But I think as far as music goes, when you cut a song and you want to release it, it needs to feel like you came up with it yourself if you cut it. Just something so true to who you are, a reflection of who you are, because that is most of the time, and we have social media and all these other things, but the main thing where people get to know us and hear us is the music. Yeah. So those songs need to be an extension of us. I totally agree with that. I agree. So, well, thank you for coming today.
Thank you for having me.
Best. Thank you for teaching me this smoothie. I'm going to drink this every day on the Rascal Flatts.
It's good, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. And I can get I'm not going to take the gigantic blender.
Get your little NutriBullet.
But I love you and thank you. I just want to say once again, thank you for being such a role model and a great mother. And what a voice. Elite, top tier voice. One of the best voices I've ever heard. So
right back at you.
Thank you. Love you.
I was raised by those kind of women.